Marsha Katz on Disability Policy, Part 3. Restrictive rules cost Social Security.
I will tell you, and this may surprise a lot of you, but I just finished a 6-year term on the Social Security Advisory Board. And as part of that, being on that board, we several times a year would go out into the field. We'd go all around the country and visit regional offices and local. We'd always visit a local office. We'd go in and talk to the employees and meet people who were coming in to apply for benefits. And almost every single time, I can't say every single time, but almost every single time we went to a local office, the people who work in that office would say, please write something saying to get rid of the marriage penalty. This causes us so much trouble. It actually costs Social Security more to administer the marriage penalty than it would to just pay benefits to people. And it was just, it's an incredible hassle for them. So they don't like it any more than we do, frankly. But it's something that would require a congressional change. Like I said, the folks who work at Social Security in the local offices would just as soon not have this at all. They would also just as soon not have, the marriage penalty, and they would just as soon not have the, what's called living in the household of another. So if there's a, let's say a young person who's 18 who's still living with their family, if they don't contribute or they don't let Social Security know that they're contributing their share of the household expenses, SSI will cut down their benefit too. And so, so then you're at a point where you've got a lower benefit, so you don't have enough money to save up money to get out of your home and to be able to pay your own bills. So that's another situation that often costs more trying to get the proof of and all the information for than it does to simply just pay the full benefit to people.
Montana Pride.
A different way to look at this, and this is something that I came across when I moved to Montana. I came from Michigan, and there are obviously a lot more people in Michigan, and so there were a lot of different kinds of families. When I moved here, a couple of things struck me that I hadn't run across when I lived in Michigan. One of them was that a lot of families here, the last thing in the world, and a lot of workers here, the last thing in the world they want to do is to apply for SSI or Social Security disability. People here take great pride in their ability to work and wanting to support themselves. That's one of the things that I found. Plus, there's certainly a number of families who don't want to have the government in their business. And so they don't want to apply for benefits, and a lot of times there'll be families who apply for SSI for a child with a disability only because of the Medicaid. And that would be the only reason why they would even do that. But for many of those families, one of the things that, there would be the issues about the tax dollars and stuff. There's so many people that complain about, where do my tax dollars go? I, for one, don't like the idea that my tax dollars support war kinds of things. I mean, why should I have to pay for that? And I don't believe in it. SSI is one of the things that for many families who work all of their lives and pay into the system and participate and do what they can, where they can see what their tax dollars actually purchase, that their tax dollars come back into helping a loved one who has been judged by Social Security as not being able to work or not being able to perform what Social Security calls substantial gainful activity. So, for instance, somebody who's receiving SSI might not be able to or be able to afford to drive a car. And so the tax dollars, yours and mine, that go into the highways may not be such a big deal because they don't use those. There may be people who wouldn't be able to go to college for one reason or another. So the tax dollars that we pay that go into helping to support education might not be such an issue. But yet they have a relative with a disability and those tax dollars come back in the form of SSI and Medicaid. That's a tangible thing that they can see that concretely affects somebody that they love and they care about. And so when you're talking about tax dollars, I think it's a slippery slope to separate people based on who gets labeled as tax users versus who gets labeled as taxpayers, because we all come from families, we all come connected to other people. And if we were to look at, if you look at anybody who graduates from college, you receive tax dollars just by going to law school and going to college. There were tax dollars supporting that. there might be other people in this room who maybe wouldn't have that opportunity, and maybe the tax dollars that they receive then come in the form of SSI and Medicaid. And so I think, in order to be fair, you kind of have to look at the whole picture and not just parts of it.